We start by tying her in the wash rack, and we make sure that we're tying her so that she's comfortable and that she's tight so she can't move around too much while we wash her. So we like to keep as little space as possible, and we make sure that the ground she's on is safe, that if she swings this way or this way, that nothing is going to hurt her. We will start by spraying her off and rinsing her body, getting it all nice and wet. A little scoop of the soap, and then put it on her back like so. And then if we spray a little, and then we can go with the brush and brush her. Making sure to keep a hand on her just to make sure that you're safe if she kicks. And then scrub her tail. And scrub her head. And we just want to be careful not to put anything inside of her. Then we'll take the pressure washer and we'll rinse all the soap off of her body. And it's very important that we get all the soap off of her body. If there's soap left, it will burn her skin and then her hair will fall out. So then what Kyle's doing here is he's just checking to make sure there's no soap left. And then you'll see, you wipe your hand, and then you'll see suds or bubbles on your hand if there's still soap left. Check the belly too. And the tail. Good. So a couple tips is when we're scrubbing her body with the soap, to scrub really hard to really get all the dirt and dust out. And then also just making sure you're getting all the parts of her, including her legs on the inside. And then when you rinse her off, make sure you also rinse off all those parts to get all the soap off. The soap off her body, we'll rinse one side and then we'll rinse the other side. But when we're rinsing the second side, some soap will come over, so we just want to make sure that we go back over just to make sure all the soap is off of the heifer or cow. And we also want to make sure we clean her hooves off as well. So around, get her head high, and then maybe around here, then she can't move. And then we make a kind of like a 4, and then loop through the loop, and then tie. Done. And then to untie, all we have to do, boom. So when we start, we want to tie her head nice and high at about the same level as if we were showing her in the ring. And then we tie her tight so there's not much room for her to move around. And then Kyle will start clipping on her body. So you want to clip against the hair. And sometimes you'll have to clip a couple different ways all the hair off. But it's important to get all of the hair off of her body. And you can see he puts a hand on her side just to keep her calmer and keep her steady as he's clipping. And then when we're clipping the sides of her body, we just want to make sure to leave a little bit so then we can do her top line later. When we look at this cow, we want to think about what her strengths and what her weaknesses are before we're clipping her to see what we may need to fix. So we see this cow, she has a very hard top. So when we do her top line, we don't need to leave too much hair because she's very hard topped. The only faults she really has maybe we're not able to fix them clipping. It's just maybe in her feet. So clipping, we want to make sure we get all the hair off, especially when we go down in her legs, just to make her look as clean and dairy as possible. So you can see as Kyle's clipping, he's making sure to get all the hair off the sharp angles in her ribs and on her loin, making sure to get all the hair off. And you can see with the big clippers, he's not going and clipping her udder with those. We'll clip her udder later at the end with the small clipper. And when we clip the cows, on heifers we'll leave lots of belly hair and we'll blend it. On cows, we'll just leave a little triangle in the very front. So you can see he's just leaving that hair just in the front of her belly. And then later we'll blow that up and then blend it to make it look like she has a deeper and fuller front end. And you can see when he's clipping on her neck, he'll pull the hair or the skin on her neck just to make sure he gets in all the little folds of her neck, that he gets all the hair off. And especially when clipping in her front end, then he'll make sure to pull the skin to get all the hair off. And then he'll start clipping on her legs. And the same thing, it's very important to get all the hair off. And you can see why we clip the cows so tight, where the longer hair is still, you can't really see much definition. But once that hair is taken off, you can see some of the veins and the sharp angles that make her look more dairy. So you can see he's going nice and slow with a hand on her side just to make sure, because when clipping their legs, that's when you're most likely to get kicked. So just trying to be as safe as possible. We will always start clipping the legs with the big clippers, and then after we will go over again with the smaller one. So he doesn't need to worry too much about getting all the hair off, especially at the very bottom with the big clippers, because we can get that later with the small clippers, much easier. So you can see that he's changing the direction he's clipping quite often, and that's just because on how the hair grows on the legs, it grows in many different ways. So you just always want to move the clipper to clip perfectly against the hair, whatever direction it's growing in. Just to make sure you get all of it off as tight to the skin as possible. And then often he'll back away and look just to make sure he didn't miss any spots. And then same thing when clipping the back legs. He keeps one hand on her just to keep her more calm and keep him more safe, so that he can feel if she's about to kick, and then he can get out of the way. Here, just wait. And then he will start clipping her head. So now what he's doing is just going over her body with the smaller clippers on the same thickness of blade as the big clippers were. Just with the small ones, you can really get all the hair off. So he'll go over her whole body with the small clippers now.
Especially the white, because the white will stand out the most if there's anything that's not clipped.
So first he'll spray a little bit of Revive, and then he'll clip her udder. you can see why we clip the udder so tight compared to the rest is you can see where the long hair is, you can't really see too much definition, but right once he clips it and clips all the hair off, you can start to see lots more veins and quality. And you can see him pulling the skin to make sure that he's going to get all the hair off and pulling it tight just so he can get the hair off. You want to make sure to also get all the hair on her udder that's behind her leg, just because then when she's walking in the ring full of milk and her legs are moving, then there won't all of a sudden be a part of her udder that is not clipped. So just because you can't really see that part of her udder now doesn't mean that when she walks that you won't be able to see it. It's also much better to clip their udders when they don't have too much milk, just so it's easier to get all the parts behind her leg. And then he'll use the smaller clippers again to blend where the really tight small clippers on her udder go to the body, just to make sure there's not a line from where he clipped.
So now we're going to clip her tail. So before we clip her tail, it's very important to know where we are going to draw our line. So what we like to do is put the tail in the seam of the udder, kind of look at it from the side, and go about halfway on the rear udder.
And we're also doing this with the very tight blades as well. And you can see here now he's making a nice, tight, even circle around where we stop clipping the tail. And now that we're done clipping her body and her legs and her tail, now he will take the hair blower and blow up her top line. So now he's just blowing all the extra hair off that we just clipped. And now he's going to blend the belly hair. So we want to make it look like there's no line from where the hair is tight to the skin to where there's lots left. Trying to make it have the look that there's no hair there when there still is, just to make her look very natural and more full. And then he's holding the clippers with his fingers on the side to make sure that he doesn't clip too tight while he takes off the longer hairs of her belly. And then now he'll blow up her belly hair. So we'll blow it up to make it look fuller, and it will be much easier to blend with it blown up. So again, he's just going nice and slow to make sure all the hair is standing. And he will start blowing the hair up, making sure to have his blower on the hottest setting. So he's going nice and slow, and you can see the hair is starting to stand up. Making sure not to go too slow because the hot air will burn her if he stops the blower on her. So you can see here now he's blowing up her top line, making sure to get all the hair standing up, including on the sides. So you can see with the blower blowing very hot air, he's going nice and slow, putting the blower right against the brush, and then pushing with the brush to get the hair to stand up. So if you go fast, then the hair won't warm up and stand up, so you have to go nice and slow, like you can see. And he's holding the blower at a slight angle to get the hair to pop up. He's making sure to get both sides of her top blown up. Nice. And now he's going to clip the top line. So before we look, we see that the cow, we look if she has any problems, like if her pelvis is very high or her front end is very high. This cow is actually very level already on her back. So we're mainly just gonna take all the long hairs off. So when clipping the top line, he's holding the clippers very firmly, and he's at a slight, if you want to zoom in on how, he holds it very firm so that if the cow moves, then he won't take any off, and he's at a slight angle so that it really emphasizes and makes a triangle instead of a square. So he's at a slight angle. And just going nice and slow. And now he's just cleaning up the sides of her top line. The cows we like to take very tight. So you can see he's not leaving much hair on the sides, just to make her look that much more sharper, dairy, and more angular. And then he'll just clean up all the hairs that were left and making sure that there's no line from doing the sides of her top line. And then he's just cleaning up the sides on the other side. So this is the very last step for doing her top. So once it's almost perfect, then we'll blow it up one more time like he's doing now before putting in the adhesive. We don't want to do it too early, so we do it right at the end. And now he's just spraying in the adhesive and using the blow dryer to make sure that it's dry once he sprays it in. And he's making sure that he's not spraying the adhesive too close to the top line, just to make sure that it's going in as a mist and not as a thick paste. And then he will do the same thing. And then he will do the same thing on this side. Just spraying in the adhesive along with the blower at the same time. And then just using the brush very gently to just try and get the hair up just the last little bit, if need be. And then the tail head and the pelvis, he'll spray quite a bit of adhesive in, and then use his fingers and the blower to make it very tight together. So he's pressing his fingers together with the hair in between to make it very tight with the adhesive. So the main goal of doing a good top line is to correct her faults, but the best top line is one that you don't notice because it's nicely blended. you don't want it to be very obvious that there's a ton of hair or that. So you want to make sure that your top line is very blended to her body so that it's almost unrecognizable where the hair is. And then he's just going to take the very sharp blades on the clipper here and then just clip the last couple hairs off to make it look very sharp. So he's not going to take off too much here, just a little bit. Holding it the same way at a slight angle. Now he's just blowing all the hair and the dust off of her and making her very clean. And then we will spray some sprays on her and then she will be ready for the show. So this is just right before the show for getting her ready. So her top is already set, just blow her off. And then he's gonna spray some Revive on her to clean her off. And then we'll use a wipe and wipe her clean. Wipe her clean. And then he will spray some final bloom on her just to shine her up. And then if she had any black spots, then right now we would use the black paint. But she doesn't have anything, so then we won't do that. And then we'll use white paint just to paint her legs a little bit if we need. Make her knees very white. Clean any spots, just like that. And Kyle will fluff her tail and spray the adhesive in. And spray the adhesive in the tail.
Dry the adhesive.
And spray a little more adhesive in the tail. And then, perfect. And then we can, a little bit at the top, and then just make the top nice, just like that. And then we will put the baby oil or gel on her udder. So then we squirt a little bit on. And then use our hand. Normally we would use a glove, but we don't have any here. So we would, and then wipe it on. And this is just to really make the veins pop. And then some on her rear udder as well. Tail. And we don't want any pooling on her udder, so you kind of tap it. And then she's ready for the ring. All done. Pulling the natural sweep of her rib, only on the black. Okay, so the couple of tips before the show ring that I would say are just make sure the cow, and especially her udder, are very clean. You want to make sure all the hair and the dust are off before you put any shine or anything. And same with the udder, you want to make sure you clean it off very well before putting on the baby gel. Mainly just about the cleanliness of the cow. And then my tips for clipping would just be go nice and slow. There's no point in going overly too fast, just nice and slow and calm. Because if you're very calm clipping the cow, then hopefully she'll be a little calmer too. And just the same thing, the main thing with clipping is even if you're not super good at the top line, the main thing is just making sure all the hair on the body and the legs are off. And same thing with the top line, just as good as you can. But the main thing is just making sure all the hair is off and very blended on the belly. And yeah, those are my quick tips.
Okay, so for bagging cows, a few good things to kind of have in the back of your head or to know. You want to know how much the cow is milking, first and foremost. That's really important. And at home, you can really practice the bagging maybe once a week for a month leading up to the show. Just kind of stretch her, see how much milk she can handle. Look for things like her crease here, when she starts to lose her crease, how high her udder gets. And another thing that you can look for when you're bagging them at home before the show is, do their four-quarters stay balanced? Maybe there's one that's a little heavier that we maybe need to take milk out of, or maybe there's one that's lighter that we're gonna wanna put more milk in for the show. Also pay a lot of attention to the fore udder, that it doesn't lose quality. Sometimes when you fill a cow with too much milk, she's gonna start getting a lot of edema and swelling, especially right here. And that can kind of bulge, which hides her veins and yeah, just kind of gives her a lack of quality. So yeah, it's really good to make sure you bag a few times at home before you go to the show, just so in the back of your head you have an idea going into it. And once you're at the show, something that's really important too is to keep an eye on how much your cow is milking. What you can do is you can actually weigh the bucket every time just to see, is she coming up in milk? Is she going down? Do we need to treat her maybe if she's sick? Things like that are really important when knowing how much milk to put in your cow. And also, one thing that we like to do at the show is maybe stretch them 1 day or 2 days before the actual show. So where we may usually milk them at, say, 5 in the morning, we're gonna wait until 9 in the morning. We're not fully bagging her, but we're just giving her a bit of a stretch just to get the quality. And so yeah, you can, for bagging, it's one size doesn't fit all. That's some cows, they may need lighter in their front. Other cows, a lot of cows you can bag square and then you can take out milk if need be, just with a cannula. So yeah, those are my tips for bagging cows.